coming to you raw and unscripted. Beaming across Ontario and beyond to places like the Junction, Ottawa, London, and Thunder Bay. This is the Real Hickson Real Estate Podcast. Whether you're listening on your commute or putting on your suit, whether it's your morning stroll or you're on patrol, you just finished prayer or dropped the kids at daycare, you're in the bar, your car, or listening with the bathroom door ajar, near or far, this is the Jess and Jarreau Show. We're grateful for flattery and prone to inaccuracies. This is your guide to Toronto culture, people, events, news, but most importantly, real estate talk. Hello guys, yes, we're back with another podcast.
Yeah, we took a little hiatus.
It's been busy. We've been very busy. We're very sorry to the listeners out there that have been missing our podcast. We kind of promise, we call this the weekly. It's more like the monthly.
Yeah, at this rate.
Today's a very special day. What's today, Jess?
Our anniversary.
A wedding anniversary, 3 years. That's so special.
Yeah,
Good
it's actually
us.
the leather anniversary.
The leather anniversary.
I would have bought you a wallet, but everything's closed.
That's cool. And you got a lovely purse from DH Gate.
That's really leathery, yeah.
It's very leathery. Good for us. Happy anniversary to us. Okay, so what are we talking about today? What's the theme?
Well, we always talk about the market.
We're going to talk about the market, correct? We're going to do that.
Yeah, there's just a lot to say, so the market is...
And then, what's the theme of today, Jess?
Offer presentations.
Offer presentations. They're scary. They're a little bit dumb, but they're an integral part, and everyone hears about them. Maybe some of you have been involved in them, whether from the selling side or from the buying side. It can be fun if you're on the seller side.
It can be fun when you get multiple offers.
It can be fun when you get multiple offers. It sucks when you don't get any offers.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we're going to talk about that today. We'll start with the market, though. Let's start with the market. So the market is pretty interesting. We're at a very interesting crossroads, I would say, right now.
It's changing week to week.
So the condo market from January was starting to explode. Okay? Now we've kind of seen the peak of that wave. I think we're on the crest. Same with the housing market. It was super, super hot. It's cooled off, or at least it's just...
It's property based
plateaued
now. Like,
yeah,
the good properties are still seeing a lot of activity.
Right.
And a lot of interest and getting bully offers and all that.
Yeah, so by bully offers, we mean when homes have offer presentation dates, which are generally like 7 or 8 days after the property hits the market. Sometimes it's 2 weeks if they want to kind of get as much interest as possible. And a preemptive offer is literally that. It's an offer that comes before that date. I guess we'll get into that in a little bit when we start going through the strategies from both sides.
Yeah.
But yeah, so some houses are having offer dates and they're not selling on offer night. Maybe they're not getting what they want. Maybe they are getting a couple of offers and not getting exactly what they expected. I think that's part of the problem is we're seeing such an increase and sellers are excited to throw their properties in the market.
Yeah.
And then they don't quite catch what was there before. Because the market can change within a week.
But certain properties are going
Yeah, the good stuff
crazy.
is still going crazy.
Yeah.
So, very, very interesting market for houses. Condos is a big question mark right now. And also cottages are on fire, Jess.
Yeah, as we expected. People are still wanting, especially this summer, knowing we're going into more lockdowns, the vaccine's not quite been rolled out properly. People are, number one, the household savings are up. Yeah.
In contrast to, unfortunately, some people are out of work and they're on EI, etc. But for a lot of the households, we haven't spent money on trips. We haven't spent money on other things apart from home improvement.
Yeah, which is huge.
Which is huge right now, home improvement. And so people are going to cottages and all that kind of stuff. But other than that, it's a very interesting point. And I think in the market, the big driving factor right now, I mean, the lockdown is having an effect to some degree. We have seen lockdowns come and go before, and they haven't really affected the market like the initial one.
No, nothing's
that we had
the first
one. Yeah, like we had March last year. But the budget's coming. And I think people are kind of waiting for any news that might come out.
Yeah.
We know that the mortgage news is that there's new mortgage rules coming in. Can you explain, Jess, what they are?
Well, it's not confirmed. They're still talking about it, but they're talking about implementing an additional an increase on
a stress test.
A stress.
Yeah.
Well, there's currently a stress test, but they're increasing the percentage, which could potentially reduce buying power by 4%.
Now, importantly, this is just for uninsured mortgages,
which is more than 20%.
So 20% or more, which is most of the buyers.
Not first-time home buyers.
Not first-time home buyers, typically. You could put anywhere from 10 to 20, or let's say 10 to 19% would be an insured mortgage. So I don't think they're getting affected, which is good news. But this could definitely impact purchasing power.
Yeah.
And the interest rates have gone back up. Whether they'll hold there, that's a very big question mark. We have really enjoyed some historically low interest rates.
Yeah.
And a lot of people have taken advantage of that. And I think that's what kind of got us through the pandemic. I mean, like, what pandemic, according to the market, you know? Like,
yeah.
It's just been crazy. So a few interesting things happening there. I think we may be seeing, because we're right in the middle of the spring market right now.
Yeah.
And it started early. Like, it started January even, February.
Yeah, like late January.
And I think we may be seeing a breath. A lot of overseas investors.
There's definitely more inventory, that's for sure.
Yeah, the inventory's coming out. It's exploded. I think there was a problem with inventory back in January, February.
Well, that's what started the whole thing.
That's what started the whole thing. And then, sellers see that and they're like, great, we'll take advantage of this. But by the time, you really have to move quick. By the time you get your house ready and you stage it, you clean up, you declutter, maybe you want to do some home improvements, some renovations, it really, it really stagnates things. And then by the time you get on the market, you've kind of missed the wave, so to speak.
Yeah.
But
I'm still in the markets I'm working in. I'm seeing things still go quite a bit over asking and selling quickly. And unless there's a problem with the home, like a glaring issue with the home, they're still selling.
Now, it's important to say that, okay, there's these crazy increases, and then when the market slows down and goes backwards, it's not like it's a decrease in the market. It's more of a correction, if anything.
Yeah.
Because we're well above 2017's prices and the way that the trajectory, the way things are going.
Yeah, definitely.
We still have really a shortage of housing. It's really still a crisis.
Yeah. It's always a good time to get into the market.
It's always a good time to get into the market. I mean, this pandemic, as bad as it's been, has been a great opportunity, especially for first-time home buyers, to get into the market. And thankfully, we've had the pleasure of working with a few of you that are listening. We've had a great time. We're very happy for you all, and it's kind of nice to see.
Oh, yeah, it's always good to see.
It's always good to see people have a little win.
It feels like a win.
It feels like a win. All right, so offer presentations, Jess. Let's talk about it. First and foremost, what you, the listeners, will first see is you'll see a dream home and you'll see the price tag. And then you quickly message your spouse or your partner or whatever, your parents, and you say, wow, look at this home. Unbelievable price. And what you can't see, because you're usually looking on these third-party apps on realtor.ca or wherever you're looking, and you can't see that there's an offer presentation date.
Yeah.
When we go in the back end in the MLS for agents, our portal that we use, we see all these like little information the brokerage remarks and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And we see, we're expecting it. We see a price, and when you see a price $599 and all the other houses around that are selling like, $850,000, it kind of, it's a tip off. It's an easy tip off.
Yeah, definitely.
But what are they doing? Why are they listing it so low, Jess?
To get people like you, listeners, excited.
Exactly.
In the door.
Okay. Let's say they wanted $850 for the home. Traditionally, you would list like 3% above. So you might list $879 or something like that.
Yeah.
And someone comes in at $840 and you eventually end up at around $850, whatever that is.
Yeah.
But if you list at $879, you're only getting a percentage of the market looking in that like mid to high 800 range.
Yeah.
So what you're saying, Jess, is you're getting not only the people in that range, but you're getting people that are looking in like the 600s and the 700 range.
Yeah, because you would list it like $699 to get $850.
Right.
And your budget may only be $750, but it's listed at $699, so you think you have a chance.
Right. So that's the thing.
But after further research.
So that's why it's really important to have a good agent that understands this. I mean, we all understand this, all the agents. It's been going on for a long time now.
Yeah, and with the access, the regular consumer is able to see a lot more information than previously. So they can do a little bit of their own homework, but if you have a good agent, we're happy to do it for you.
Happy to do it for you guys. So, okay, so let's dive into it a little bit. From the selling perspective, we are, as agents, and we've done it in the past for our clients, we're listing your home, and this is a seller's market kind of thing, by the way, guys. When you're in a buyer's market, this kind of stuff doesn't happen. And you'll notice, for different markets, if it's even a balanced market, I don't think it happens as much. You might see one or two for these like really good properties that we're talking about.
Yeah, really like desirable locations.
Yeah, but generally this stuff only really happens in seller's market, and seller's market is the low inventory and high demand.
Which is the typical market in Toronto.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, what's the one thing, Jess? We're not building any more land in Toronto.
No, you're not going to get more land.
The only thing
more space.
Yeah, I mean, they're doing a lot of infill, like places like Regent Park is a perfect example, where they're turning old kind of areas, like disused areas, and areas where there's like, social welfare and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, rejuvenating.
Yeah,
there's tons of areas in Ontario that they're doing that.
Yeah. But apart from that, there's no other land. So that's why we continue to see just crazy increase in the market and like overseas interest, for example.
Well, it's a stable, healthy economy.
Stable economy. Okay, Canada just got named #1 country in the world, as voted by a board of like specialists, apparently.
Yeah.
And ranked for a lot of different reasons, like healthcare and social awareness and tolerance and all that kind of stuff. So good on you, Canada.
We're lucky to live
Pat on the
here.
back. So this is why we keep seeing this increase in demand. And even just that article going around the world, people are like, oh, where should I buy? There's investors, Jess, that like, they spin the globe on their desk. And they're like, where am I buying the next investment property? And they like, is the US, do they have tax credits? Do they have foreign investor tax? Do they have this? Do they have that? And they just keeps going around the world. And I mean, that's really what drives it. And Canada seems to be
a good one.
The place to be.
Yeah.
Okay, so seller's market, we list the property, lots of buyer activity, and we generally say 7 to 8 days from when we list the property to when we have the offer presentation.
Mm-hmm.
So that seems to be a magic number. As I said, we are seeing kind of like 2-week ones.
Yeah, it's not as desirable.
And what we're trying to do is we're trying to concentrate the interest into one day.
Yeah.
So otherwise, if you didn't do this...
All the buyers come together and compete.
Right. So if you didn't do that, you would probably have one person maybe offering this day and maybe one person offering this day. But on the offer date, you know exactly what interest there is, how much interest there is, how many offers you get, what the contents of the offers are. So 7 to 8 days, then we'll have it, generally on a Tuesday or a Wednesday. It also depends whether there's another property that you may be in competition with that might have
their offer presentation night, and whether
you don't want to have it on the same night. It's
you don't want to split the buyers in that regard.
Yeah.
And from a buying perspective, that's tough. Like, my client likes 2 different properties. They both have offer dates on the same night. You can't offer on 2 places at once.
No.
And why is that, Jess?
Because if you win both of them, you got to buy both houses.
You got to buy both houses, exactly. Okay, so then we generally say, like, okay, register by 5 p.m. and we'll present the offers at 7 p.m. on the offer night. That's pretty typical. Mm-hmm. You will get people maybe registering early for a hot property. I mean, they can kind of register an offer. It's not like strict guidelines.
No.
It's just an idea of when to come. And obviously, a lot of people like wait in the wings as a buyer.
Yeah.
They're like, let's wait to see how many offers they get.
Yeah.
And that might change the outcome of how much they offer.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So, okay, so we have the register by 5. If everyone plays by the rules, we get 3 or 4 offers. If it was a crazy hot property, then it's like 10 offers, 12 offers. Mm-hmm. As we've heard in the news, like
35 offers.
35 offers, like just some crazy stuff you'll see on Blog TO posts, for example. And then what we do is, it's all done electronically now. I mean, you've seen the days, Jess, when you used to sit at the property in the kitchen.
Yeah.
And the agents wait outside. They
walk in the door.
They walk in the door and
tell you their sob story.
And tell you why they need to be picked. And then, present. Literally, it used to be the buyer agent presenting the offer physically to them. Explaining what's in it. And nowadays, it's digital, of course. So you're sending emails in.
Yeah, it's a lot quicker.
Now, in terms of the actual guts of this whole operation...
And how we strategize.
And there's a lot of, like, things really to go over. You really do need to reach out to us and ask us that from a buying side and from a selling side. There's just a lot to go into in terms of all of that. And
every situation is different.
And every situation is 100% different.
We would customize the approach for you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And that's why we're here for you.
That's why we're here for you. And so, it's tough. It can be tough on buyers. It can be tough also on sellers. It's a lot about power, and who has the power. Generally, sellers have the power. Mm-hmm. But that, as we said before, if you get no offers, then it's tough. But at the end of the day, like, you're not selling until you get the number you want.
No.
It's not the be all and end all. Typically, like, if houses or homes don't sell on offer night, they just get relisted close to the price that they want the next day.
Yeah. And they do sell for what they're worth, what somebody's worth buying them for.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not the most fun as a buyer in those situations, but
it is a little bit exciting.
It's exciting,
I would say.
Yeah.
So what can we say to sellers? We will, in future podcasts, we're definitely going to dive into listing your home and getting it, like, absolute ready. But what are a few key things that we need to remember, Jess?
Well, the cleanliness of the house, the presentation of the house,
mm-hmm.
like the way it shows is the most important thing. Even the hottest market, if a house isn't in its best form, it's not going to get top dollar.
Yep. And photos. For me, photos is huge.
Yeah.
When I'm looking at 20 listings, and I'm like, I dive into the guts of things, and obviously when you get specific clients, you get very specific, but otherwise you're just going through listing after listing.
Yeah, if the first 3 photos aren't great.
First 3 photos have to be just standout pictures. One exterior, and then a couple like main, like kitchen, living room, like iconic photos they have to be.
Yeah.
Then we're just probably gonna skip it.
Yeah.
Sometimes when there's a lot of inventory, we actually find reasons not to show you, and not to send them to our clients.
Yeah, because we have to narrow down.
And if the photos are terrible, that's one strike. Yeah. I mean,
and just when you're in a home, like, the smell of a home is huge.
Right.
The cleanliness of a home is huge.
Cleanliness, like, it's the full experience. I like to turn all the lights on, a little Glade plug-in in the wall when you first walk in. Mm-hmm. Some people like to bake bread or cinnamon rolls.
Yeah. Yeah, not so much in COVID, but
and maybe even some music. I really like putting music on, just soft.
Yeah.
Just soft music.
Yeah, it's a whole experience.
Bringing some life into a space without other people in it, when it's just the buyers walking in. So important things like when you're doing this offer presentation day, as we said, 7 to 8 days, we need to concentrate all the interest. So you need to have done, your agent needs to have done all of these things to get there. Manicure, curb appeal, declutter, take a lot of the stuff out. People don't want to see your stuff. They don't want to see your personalized items. We love that you have that classic 70s, marriage shot with the puffy shoulders. We love that for you. But the other people, when they walk in, the buyers, they don't want to see your personalized stuff. They want to imagine their things in that space.
Yeah.
So that's why when we go to stage it, it's very neutral pieces, usually very modern stuff that we use. And so you're trying to concentrate all that interest and garner a lot of interest on offer night.
Yeah. Yeah, but we'll go through that. If you have any personalized questions or thinking of selling, then contact us directly and we can talk the real stuff.
As we said, it's really easy for us to just generally talk about this, but when it comes into the guts of it, it's tough because it's really case by case, neighborhood by neighborhood, different home types. There's different strategies for different things.
Yeah.
Different home buyers, different. You got to also imagine who's the buyer for that home.
Yeah.
Exactly. Because
Exactly.
that's really going to dictate, number one, how you market it, and number two, how you present it.
Definitely.
Okay, so generally for a buyer, when it comes to offer night, what are the things that a buyer can do?
Well, the cleaner the offer, the better. So no financing condition, be pre-approved, no inspection, make sure the house, there's an inspection report previous, like that you've looked over, or you're comfortable with the state of the home, all the major stuff. Obviously, trying to accommodate the seller's preferred closing date is ideal if you can make it work.
Yep.
And your best number.
Best number. So going back to conditions, Jess, you said the cleanest offer. What are the two main conditions, or the 2 or 3 main conditions that we would have?
Yeah, financing.
Okay, financing, yeah.
Inspection. And if it's a condo, a status or certificate.
Status certificate, right. So condo status, it really reveals, it's hard not to have that in there. That really reveals the management of the condo, special levies,
health of the building.
The health of the building and the way that it's managed. The board and the status is reflective of the board that manages the condo building. They're really there to work on behalf of all the owners. They're there for the common interest. So it's nice to see, just the general workings of how that all happens. And I think, as we've mentioned before in our previous podcast, the status certificate is there to be reviewed by the lawyer. I like to fancy myself as a pretty good status certificate reviewer now. I've seen a few in my time. And we're really looking for key things. There's no court orders against the building. There's healthy amount of reserve fund. There's no liability issues, any of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Or even like damaged elevators, for example, as we've experienced in previous buildings of ours.
Yes, we have.
So that's all that kind of stuff. So that's the status certificate. It's hard not to have that in there, but it's not absolutely crazy to see in a really hot condo market, for example, where people are coming in with firm or clean offers, as you called it.
No conditions. But generally they're in there. But apart from that, inspection, that's a big one, especially in the older homes. Yes.
If you find yourself in a hot market, you could typically see, especially in offer presentations, you could see homes that do their own home inspection.
Yeah.
And they're happy to give that to agents before the offer date.
Yeah.
And that actually also happens in condos with the status certificate as well.
Yeah.
Whereas they order that first and
give you a chance to review it.
Give you a chance to review it before you offer. Because if you offered with those conditions in it, then you would review it afterwards. So they're kind of like cutting out the middleman, essentially.
Yeah. Make things go smoother.
And you yourself, doing an inspection clause, you going in there, you using an inspector, they're telling you what is wrong and right with the house. They're not telling you to go ahead with the offer or not. They're just merely presenting you with what everything is in what condition it's all in, and whether this or this or this may cost you money. I mean, at the end of the day, it's your decision to go ahead with it or not. It's just that you're now armed with knowledge of, okay, I have to spend a little bit of money fixing the roof within a few years, or, oh, the drainage isn't quite great away from the house. It's causing a little bit of leakage in the foundations. Let's re-landscape it so the water runs away. That kind of those little things.
Yeah.
That you see. Obviously, the finance clause is an interesting one. Before the process, you get pre-approved. I mean, you should really be pre-approved.
Yeah.
Now, that's not guaranteed approval. It's just more of a guideline from the lenders. But when it comes to the financing clause, when you buy a house with the financing clause in it, the house then becomes sold conditionally, and you would have anywhere from 2 to 5 days to go to the banks and feed them that property information. They would check the comparables, maybe send an appraiser in, and they would appraise the house, and you'd get the actual commitment letter. So in crazy hot markets, if you're pretty comfortable with what the price you may be paying, you clean up that and you take that condition out.
Yeah, again, this is a lot of information, and if you need clarification or detailed answers,
yes,
reach out.
And again, every market's different, every neighborhood's different, case by case basis.
Yeah, I don't want to overwhelm our lovely listeners with these details.
A lot of details.
Yeah. But we're always happy to talk.
Always happy to talk. I mean, this is just starting the conversation for some people. Some people just maybe had no clue. Some people had some clue, maybe.
Yeah.
Like, why does it go over? And at the end of the day, we're left with, probably in the foreseeable future, offer presentations.
Yeah, so they're always around. Sometimes every house has them, and sometimes only limited houses have them. At the moment, it's 75% of the listings I see have them.
Now,
but buyers are starting to get very sick and tired of it.
Well, that's what happens. So as you saw at the start of the year, there was a lot of bully offers coming in, preemptive offers. And then at some point, the buyers just get sick of competing. They get sick of losing. And
buyer fatigue
sets in. And then you start to see a more leveled out market, which I think we're seeing now.
Yeah, which is fun for everybody.
It's fun for everybody. It's nice. It's nice when there's back and forth rather than just back or forth.
Yeah.
So the other funny thing is I heard that there was an auction out in the outer suburbs. They were planning one, were they not?
Yeah, I don't know if it ended up happening.
But just for you guys that aren't aware, in Australia, for example, where I'm from, we do auctions. This is what we do. We set up the property, and on a weekend, you go and all stand in the backyard, you register as a potential buyer, and then you have a live auction. And you start at a number, and everyone goes up, and everyone knows exactly what the number is. And at some point, the seller's like, okay, we're happy to sell it for this price or above. And they'll come out and say, okay, the property's on the market. And then any price from that point is what's going to sell the house. So I won't go into that too much, but this could be coming to Toronto. It could be coming to Ontario.
I can't see it coming to Toronto.
It's tried here and there. I mean, look.
I don't see it happening.
It's a more fair system.
Yeah.
Because the worst thing about offer presentations is that you may be paying more than the next best offer, but it may be $5,000, it may be $50,000. You'll never know.
Yeah.
And that's the crazy thing. And you might have lost it. Similarly, you might have lost it by only $5,000, or you may have lost it by $50,000.
You may have lost it by $10.
May have lost it by $10.
You'll never know.
And that's the sad reality. I mean, it continues to happen.
will we see a shift to this other like live auction, open bid kind of style?
Maybe like by the end of our career.
By the end of our career. Maybe I'm going to start it, Jess. Maybe I'm going to be an auctioneer. And
maybe we'll be in our plans for retirement, and that will be a thing we can look forward to.
But for the meantime, this is where we're at. Obviously, as we move towards a more balanced correcting market, we'll just go back to the traditional style of listing a price and finding that you can bid under list price. Wouldn't that be a luxury, Jess?
Yeah, but then the sellers want like what they want, so
exactly. And what are the simple concepts, Jess? Like
a home is only worth what someone's willing to pay for it.
Exactly. And also, factors. If a seller has bought and they have to sell a house, then like
motivation's
key.
Yes.
Or
on either side.
Or if a buyer, say you're living in your parents' basement,
yeah,
that's also motivation, isn't it?
We don't know anything about that.
And that's when, just so you guys know, that's when we start to see the crazy prices. When the emotions get involved.
Or somebody's lost 5 times already.
Or someone's so sick and tired, they've lost their dream home 3 times and they're at that stage in the process and they're just like, you know what? I'm just going to buy something because maybe the interest rates are increasing. Maybe the housing prices are increasing. Because what happens, Jess? Like, if someone, like, I want to put this in inverted quotes, overpays, because you're not really overpaying until you go to sell it. And if you sell it at the wrong time, you've overpaid.
Yeah.
But if someone, let's say they overpay, it's $50,000 more than the house that sold down the street. That then becomes the new comparable, doesn't it?
That's the thing. And that's how quickly things change. It only takes one buyer.
That's why these prices go up, guys. Because when the new price is established, then, of course, the selling agent's going to say, well, this sold for this price and this sold for this price.
Yeah.
The only way it starts to go back down is if the buyers start to thin out a little bit, and if the property starts to sit there for a little bit and starts going backwards.
Yeah.
But
you're always making the right decision getting into real estate and sell, and you'll sell at the right time and it'll all be okay.
At the end of the day, like when we talk to our buyer clients and they may be overwhelmed with the price they have to pay, what we say to them, it's really like when you go into these offer presentation dates, as long as there's more than just you as a buyer, as soon as there's someone else, you're really betting only against yourself. Like you'll never know how much the other person's paying. You'll never know what the contents of that other offer is. All we know is as agents is how many offers there are. And if it's worth it for you to a certain point, then that's why you're paying them more money. If it's not worth it to you at a certain point for a price,
then walk away.
And you always should be prepared to walk away at a point. And we play a little game. We say like, if it's sold for this price, would you be mad? And if you say no, then we basically find the limit of what you're comfortable to pay. And at the end of the day, even if you may be paying more than you expected, as long as you don't sell at the wrong time, it's not a bad decision. The worst decisions...
Like you're paying into your equity.
Yeah.
Like you're always doing the right thing moving forward.
Even if you buy at the peak of the market, when the next couple of years, maybe the market drops out, the bubble bursts, as they say, okay? As long as you don't have to sell in duress or desperation, and you can just wait it out, then even if you sell for the same price you bought it, you've put equity into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
like the number one constant is as long as there's one person in Toronto or in the GTA tomorrow than there was yesterday, then prices will continue to grow.
Definitely.
It's very, it goes in cycles. Cyclical is the fancy word I was using for.
Mm-hmm.
And there is peaks and there is troughs. But I mean, the prices compared to the 80s, compared to the 90s.
Yeah, if you look decade to decade, there's no question.
There's just no question. And we're like, we thought 2017 was the craziest thing that we saw. And look where we are now.
Yeah, we'll talk in 5 years.
In 5 years. That's right.
For sure.
So, I mean, is there anything else we really need to go through? I think we've
I think that was a lot of information. And
it's a lot of
I
information.
feel overwhelmed for the buyers who are very new to this.
And even the sellers. I mean, it's an experience.
Yeah.
It's an emotional experience for the sellers. And, you know, of course, like selling your home, it's, you know, a lot of the time had a lot of memories.
Yeah. But when you're ready to move on, you're ready to move on.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Well, I think that kind of wraps up the show. Again, like there is still a lot of unanswered questions. So if you have some, please reach out. hicksonrealestateteam@gmail.com. You can hit us up on social media at Hickson Real Estate, on Facebook, Instagram. We have a YouTube now, all that kind of stuff. And of course, our podcast is going to be all across Apple Podcasts and Anchor.fm. Spotify and all your favorite platforms.
And we're going to try to enjoy our lockdown anniversary.
Let's go and enjoy it, Jess.
Yeah.
What are we going to do?
Well, there's a little sunshine for us.
Fancy drive, maybe? With the windows down?
Oh, you're getting wild now.
Maybe a little walk in the park?
Lovely.
Picking flowers?
Yeah, my flower delivery hasn't arrived.
Oh, I'm pretty sure it's coming. Are flowers essential? Are they close?
Yeah, you have to look that up. I don't know. I'm not going to give you the
All right,
answers.
just leave that with me. All right, guys. Thanks for hanging out with us today. And be sure to like all our stuff and subscribe and follow us and all the stuff that YouTubers say. All right, bye, guys.
Bye.